Yeah, it is definitely a big theme. I think there's a huge movement towards a desire to find meaning and connection in life. I think you're 100% on the people are feeling, they're feeling a void, they're feeling empty,
Hmm.
and so they're trying to understand the source of the emptiness. And often that is from past trauma that's either been pushed down or unaddressed, or the way you've been brought up. And the truth is, our parents did the best that they could with the
Yes.
information that they had at the time, and we can certainly celebrate them for that. But we have so much access now to so much more information, and so what we do with that is up to us.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Zen and Now. Today, I'm joined by the incredible Cara Lisa Sham, CEO of So Serene, passionate yogi, and a passionate advocate for holistic health. From yoga and wellness, blogging, and to creating nourishing food, she's dedicated to helping others find balance and mind in body and in business. In this conversation, we'll dive deep into her journey and the lessons that she learned and how she continues to grow. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Cara.
Thank you so much, Kishan. Really great to be chatting with you today, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Uh, for the listeners who don't know you or haven't been introduced to you, can you just give us a background of who Cara Lisa is?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Cara Lisa Sham, and I am an industrial psychologist by qualification, uh, a passionate well-being advocate, and also very quite obsessed with entrepreneurial space. I love trying new things, and I'm curious. So I like to explore different avenues and to see what works, to see what doesn't. And I like doing things to the beat of my own drums. So the entrepreneurial space has always been something I've been very drawn to. I'm also a self-taught yogi, and I've found a lot of solace in developing my yoga technique over time. I was a dancer for many years and also continue to love moving my body and see the benefits of movements and meditation and all the well-being oriented activities. So that presents very strongly in my life and guides me in my career today. So Serene is a well-being platform that has come from this place, and yeah, but I'll tell you more about that just now as we get further into that part of the segment.
Amazing. The entrepreneurial side, where did that stem from? How did that, did you always have it within you, or was it something that you built within yourself over the years?
I think it definitely comes from seeing my parents do what they do or do what they did. Both my mom and my dad are entrepreneurs,
Right.
and from when I was a tiny little baby, my mom used to run businesses from home, and I suppose observing her and seeing her, um, her spirit and the passion that she brought to the table, and her dedication and her will was and her drive was very much part and parcel of my
Right.
programming. And so naturally, I think the entrepreneurial space was always more inviting for me. So while I did do the studying route and tried corporate for a little bit, it just didn't seem to gel with me. And so naturally, I had to
Yeah.
explore the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely
It's so
say
fun.
it's a,
It's so funny
yeah.
that you say it. Like we always looking. I mean, as kids, we sponges. We're
Mm,
always like
absolutely.
absorbing information, or we're absorbing, you know, uh, fundamentals of what we see around us. And like you said, your environment was very self-driven. So you yourself, like subliminally, was like, okay, that's and you hold your parents to high standards as well. Like, I mean, in high regard. And you're like, I always want to be like my parents. We all do, like, we look up to our parents in a
We look
certain
up,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we do. But I think it's an interesting nature nurture debate because um, there's certain things where your genetics certainly have have a big say in um
Hmm.
how you become, or but then there's also the environmental conditioning. And so and then I also like it comes to question, how much of what we do is predetermined versus how much of it is self-directed. So it's
Yeah.
actually such an interesting conversation to have around that piece.
I think especially in this day and age where we all kind of like figuring out, who we are. Because I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I've seen quite a lot of my friends or my close connections starting to like really try to like dig deep into their past and try like figure
Mm.
out where the gaps were and try to like fulfill them right now.
Yeah, it is definitely a big theme. I think there's a huge movement towards a desire to find meaning and connection in life. I think you're 100% on the people are feeling they're feeling a void, they're feeling empty,
Hmm.
and so they're trying to understand the source of the emptiness. And often that is from past trauma that's either been pushed down or unaddressed, or the way you've been brought up. And the truth is, our parents did the best that they could with the
Yes.
information that they had at the time, and we can certainly celebrate them for that. But we have so much access now to so much more information, and so what we do with that is up to us. And if we can take ownership of being more self-guided and utilize that information in a positive way, then we can access parts of ourselves that we didn't even know were possible, were there or even possible. And so naturally can become so much more expansive in what we're able to achieve.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We have the opportunity now to do something about it. Like you said, we have access to information at our fingertips, and it's either we can use it or access it in a positive light, or we can just let it lie there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say has been your journey in that regard? Like, have you always been naturally inclined to venture into the entrepreneurial space, or is it something that was more like a rebellious move?
So my journey is more about my mom is a homemaker. My dad was in finance.
Okay.
Uh, but I think most of my upbringing I was more aligned towards my uncle, who's late now. He was more an active person, more on the sports field, kind of like just busybody. Um, so I molded my mentor, or my mentor was my uncle. Um, and I was always active. I think ever since I was like born, my mom said I was just constantly moving. And so I naturally just, that was my upbringing. I played all kind of sports. I was never the academic type. I
Mm.
was just the average student. I just made sure I got through. But I was more focused on being the athlete than the academic. And but there was an incident. I mentioned it in my previous podcasts. There was an incident where my mom had an incident with hot water, boiling hot water, and it fell on her leg. Um,
Mm.
and I was like three years old at the time. But it wasn't something that I was afraid of. I looked at it more as an opportunity for me to help my mom,
Mm.
to be brave. I didn't like cry. I don't think I cried or anything. I think I do remember just helping my mom up, taking her to the room, and then after that I don't really remember. It was a fundamental incident in my life that's when I only now at the age of 39 I'm figuring out that's who I am.
Mm.
I was always meant on this to be on this planet to help people. Hence why I started this podcast as well. Um, and I was just looking back at my own journey, like struggle with anxiety, you know, from the onset. Never really had the opportunity or the guidance to deal with it in a positive light or in a constructive way. So I kind of like made a lot of mistakes. Uh, but right now I'm kind of like reflecting on a lot of that and trying to improve. So basically, it's like that's why the wellness space is quite a important facet of my life right now, and just trying to like just reach out to positive people who are actually also contributing towards in the space, and trying to help somebody else who actually probably needs it in this point in time.
Yeah, I love that. It is so important. I think what you're saying resonates so deeply with me because I think, the whole purpose that we're here is to journey back to self. And we come into this world our full selves, and then there's a whole bunch of programming that goes on, and you just develop these layers and
Yeah,
upon layers, which are all conditioning meant to um subliminally program us into becoming consumers of everything. which
Right.
requires a significant lack mentality, because in order for you to want things, you need to come from a place of lack.
Hmm.
And, over time, it's all about wanting to fit in as well. And you just become further removed from your true self in that process. And as children, we really do know ourselves. There's just this complete and there's this authenticity and realness about a child that's just so beautiful and so innocent and so pure. And they're such a lesson and a gift to us because they
Hmm.
are a reminder of that all the time. And just the way you said that, you didn't fear the situation when your mom experienced the
Hmm.
burn. Like
Hmm.
you just knew there was a part of you that just knew you needed to
Yeah.
be strong, you needed to help her, you were proactive in the situation, and that was coming from your true self. You
Yeah.
know, had that happened years later, you would probably have come more from a place of fear
Yeah.
and
Fear and
a lot of
anxiety.
conditioning and anxiety. And so the reaction or the ability to help maybe would have been a lot different. And it's such a strong reminder to us
Yeah.
that is who we are and that is who we destined to come back to. And I think that's why the world is so unhappy today, because that void and that lack and that separation is separation from self, your truth, your oneness.
Hmm.
And that's why I've been so motivated in my journey to be a part of movements that are going to support people in some way, shape, or form to get back to their true self. And people do require the tools because, I think it is a very personal journey.
Hmm.
It's like, the journey back to self. There's no one size fits all for everyone, but there's certain tools that, when exposed to those, can be like highly beneficial. And I mean,
Yeah.
I for one have found so much um, benefits in meditation and movements, and that's why So Serene is so close to my heart, because we provide those tools. We provide workouts and we provide meditation tools that help people just access something that could potentially wake up that part of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's you don't even have it doesn't even have to be a paid service. You can just go onto YouTube and find something that
Yes.
resonates.
Yeah.
um, it really is just a matter of taking that one step. And I just, yeah, I want to be a part of something bigger and helping people to get there. I really do.
Yeah. I can hear that it means a lot to you, and I can feel that, just from our conversation right now, that, it's something that you're so dedicated towards, and, you just want the best for people.
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And it's also having gone through it myself and continue to go through it. I
Hmm.
think the deeper you go into that level well, that deep self-awareness, the more you understand um, when you are disconnected from yourself, the pain that you feel, and then the almost the recipe that you need to implement in order to get yourself back to that sense of oneness, because that
Yeah.
sense of oneness doesn't remain. And that's, I
Hmm.
think, what people struggle with. I mean, I myself do, is that you'll feel the sense of connectedness and oneness and lightness. And when you're plugged in and connected to source or your creator or whatever it is, the
Yeah.
energy that is this universe, whatever you
Yeah.
want to refer to it as, the world becomes such a magnificent place. And there's synchronicities and magic that just happens and unfolds in the most exceptional way. But then the minute if you fall out of that vibration and you start experiencing life like it was, it's such a painful disconnect. So
Yeah.
you almost like it's quite a balance to. I don't know if you've experienced this personally.
Yes, I
I'd
have.
say
Yes, I
your
have.
side as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but again, I think that's just such a vital conversation to have, because it's all good and well having the tools, but it's also about like the maintenance.
Yeah. Being
How do
mindful of it.
yeah, to be mindful of it and know that it's not about perfection, but rather the continuous journey of
Yeah.
finding what works for you. And sometimes you have to adjust that as well along the process. But
Yeah.
it's a complex route, a complex journey.
No, it's a tough one, but a necessary one. If you
Yes.
require, if you're looking to improve, it's not going to be all the same level of gradient that you're just going to keep going up. There are going to be times where, I mean, I myself, like you said, I have felt a disconnect. I have felt like I asked myself why, you know, why am I doing this? And but it doesn't last too long where it did before. I
Mm.
stayed in the why too long, and I struggled then with anxiety and of like, okay, what does this mean? Am I this thought, or am I this figure? Or but now I'm thinking to myself, okay, what does it mean? What is the association of what I'm feeling? And
Mm.
instead of just pushing it away, rather sit with it
Yes, and
and let it, because it is you. End of the day, those feelings and thoughts are you. You are that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I guess a lot of us, we feel like we should be perfect in our thoughts and not have any intrusive thinking, or we should just be pure lighted heart, or lighthearted. And it's never that way. I had to learn that the hard way. Struggled with panic attacks when I was going through my anxieties, you know, and when I learned like breath work when I started my journey and just being introduced to like just breath work again, it's such a simple tool.
mm.
I think it was a life changer, a game changer for me, actually.
So you would say that breath work was your key to
Y-
like
Yeah, to like,
your tool, your particular tool to get there.
yeah, to just bring an inner peace back to myself,
Mm.
and just
Yeah.
cognitively, and just the whole neural system just functioning again, because I myself am a hypersensitive person. So I need that kind of like tool to help me just re-engage with myself.
What do you think it is that it has made you hypersensitive? Do you think that that is just a part of who you are, or do you think it's purely because you are maybe more connected to your higher self and so are more um, intuitive or receptive to the the sensory experience that you're exposed to at all
Yeah,
times in the world, and so like naturally you're affected more.
yeah. No, so to give you just an elevated, pitch of this, of why I think I'm hypersensitive, is because
Mm.
I think during my childhood, especially schooling, I think it began with bullying, uh, a lot of body shaming, and I didn't take it as a, I didn't accept it. I always felt like I never belonged, and I never wanted to hurt anybody, and I didn't understand why I was being treated that way. Uh, but up until I think it was standard five, I think I was okay. But once I left primary school, I went into high school. I think that's when everything changed for me. I think where my hypersensitivity started to like really increase. Um, I think it's something that I've never actually had to like really deal with until up until like quite a few years ago, where I had to like start my journey. Is I was bullied like every single day. Um,
It's
I
tough.
wasn't. Yeah, I think looking at it back, I mean, looking back at it right now, I feel like it was meant for me. It was meant to happen for
Mm.
me to be here right now. I look at it as a positive right now, but back
Yeah,
then it was just a nightmare.
yeah.
And uh, every single day I didn't want to go to school. It was just a nightmare. But that's why when I was an athlete and playing cricket and soccer and whatever else I was involved with, kept me solace, kept me sane,
Mm.
because that was my avenue
It was
to
your
to
outlet.
really, yeah.
Mm.
Um, I think that those five years were very important in my development. Uh, until today, like we were just talking about it this morning, why we dream about certain periods of our life.
Yeah.
And that was one period where I keep on dreaming about, because it was just such an important facet of, or part of my life journey, uh, that there were many scars, but
Mm.
also a lot of healing came from it as well. And I forgive myself and I forgive those who also were part of it, that actually contributed towards it. It's I cannot go back in the past,
Mm.
but the hypersensitivity now is not as hypersensitive as it was,
And
because I'm
perhaps
able to talk about it.
even
Yeah,
almost a strength in a way because you're able to perceive and sense things that others wouldn't necessarily be perceptive to at
yeah,
all had it not been for that particular journey.
yeah.
And I think like the message I'm getting from what you're saying and which resonates very much too, um, if I frame it through the teachings that I follow a lot, which is from Kabbalah,
Mhm.
which is that, when we as souls, in framing again through the context of Kabbalah, is that souls, we don't just come here once, we come here many times. We come
Yes.
to Earth many times,
Multiples. Yeah.
multiple times, and we've got a lot of karmic baggage that we carry, and so those people, the lessons, everything is all prearranged or pre-organized for us to then process through during the context of our lives. And we have to graduate through each of the lessons that we agree to or pre-agree to come through and
Yeah.
experience. And it's through the pain and through the tough times that you expand and are able to then welcome in so many more blessings. Because if you aren't going through the pain, then you won't know the deeper or the grand levels of light that can actually come through.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you're able to take your pain and transmute that into exceptional light and be able to help people through that pain, then that's a lesson well learned for sure. And a big tick.
Yeah.
A tick in the box for you for sure. But I think it's just such a great highlight for everyone in general to acknowledge that the tough times are there for a reason, and that it's all about how you're able to see what it is that you're going through at the time. Because even if it is so exceptionally painful and challenging, that it's breaking you open and breaking you apart so that you can build yourself back together bigger and better and stronger, so that those great grand desires that you are wanting in your life can actually come in.
Manifest. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reference that I'll give from one of my favorite podcasters, David Geeham. I'm not sure if you've ever seen his videos. Yeah. He's becoming really popular on Instagram, and I find his teachings exceptional. He speaks about a 60-watt, he speaks about the example of a light bulb, and he says that if you are a 60-watt light bulb and you are wanting 1,000 watts of energy, you're going to short circuit if you get that 1,000 watts when you're only a 60-watt bulb. So what has to happen is you need to expand into a 1,000-watt light bulb so that you can bring in that 1,000 watts of energy. And in order for that to happen, you need the lessons, you need the pain, you need to be broken apart in order for you to build up. And so that's why the tough times in life come through for us, is to get us there. And the stronger our desires are, the stronger the lessons have to be. And over time, when you're able to understand how to transmute pain better, the lessons become far less extreme.
Painful.
And also when you learn your lesson the first time, it doesn't have to come in so harsh, because like we go through these cycles where it's like, okay, version 1 will come in at like 20%. And then if you haven't learned it, it'll come in at 40%.
Yes.
And then if you still haven't learned it, it's going to be like, okay, listen, we're going to have to come in at like 70% now. And we're going to really have to hit you with
until you learn.
Listen. Yeah. So it's an interesting pattern, but once you start understanding that, and it becomes a little bit easier to navigate, I think.
Also have to be kind to yourself through the journey.
Yes.
There's a lot of times when you're like kind of just want to give up.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself why. And I think also one fundamental practice that I went through was Kundalini yoga, which was very intense. I must say, very emotional. A lot of the dirt came up to the surface and you have to sit with it. Both my wife and I did it at the same time. So our household was just
emotional.
A mush pit of,
Two emotional humans.
Yes. But it was important. It was very important for our development, not just as individuals, but as a couple as well.
Yeah. And it's really powerful that you were able to hold space for one another in that journey.
Yeah. We were kind to each other. We understood that both of us are going through something. And we just sometimes, you get, like any human being, you're gonna get upset. You're gonna feel upset. There are gonna be times of, massive arguments and just disagreements. But hey, I mean, it's part of the journey. You have to understand that that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I think also, again, a reminder that everyone's a mirror. Like when you're going through something, the people around you begin to mirror whatever it is that you're feeling inside. And so all they're doing is reflecting back where you're currently at in your journey. So the more you adjust and mold and heal accordingly within,
Yeah.
um, it starts reflecting in those around you as well as within, so
Yeah.
without.
I always was so it's something I'd like to share with you is that prior to coming to Canada, 2019, I left. I left December of 20. We left December of 2019. In May of 2019, I was admitted into hospital for 2 weeks. Because I had massive mental health issues. Um, and there's a lesson during the day they have groups and things like that. And there's a message that was like imparted onto us about a lesson actually about infinity loop. If you don't deal
Mm.
with the problem at source,
Mm.
it's just gonna keep coming back to you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So if you don't acknowledge the truth at the source, it's just gonna keep coming back to you and over and over and over.
Mm.
Um,
Different faces,
and that,
different faces, same.
yeah,
Then
you
it's
just
there.
don't know it, but it's gonna keep happening, and it's such a profound and simple lesson, but it resonated
Mm.
because at the time I was making the same mistakes over and over. I didn't understand why, or I didn't like pay too much attention to it. I thought, okay, it's fine, it'll just by itself go away magically. But I wasn't dealing with the problem at source.
Mm.
So hence why I kept going in this infinity loop. And when I understood that, things changed, you know, and people might think, yeah, the experience of going to hospital is like we say in our societies, it's a bit crazy.
Mm.
Still till today, people are like, no, why did you go? Were you crazy? No, it was required for me at the time. I
Mm.
really needed it because I was going really down the path of suicidal thoughts and those kind of things.
Mm.
And
You
but there's
needed
something
something
within
to
my
break the momentum.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just needed that break,
Mm.
and thankfully I took the latter part of all those lessons and positively included them into my life, where I've known a lot of my friends who have also, like, sadly, may their soul rest in peace, taken their own lives. You know,
Mm.
um, hence why I feel like so strongly about getting the message out there. Like, you are not alone. You're never alone in whatever you're going through.
Yeah, you are never alone. But yet you are, because, and that's the that's the interesting anomaly on all of this, is that
Yeah,
we arrive in this world, um,
alone.
alone, and we exit
Yeah,
alone. The
yeah.
in
No, I
between
mean
is where the
yeah, I
connection
mean in a sense, yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I
But I
mean,
think
like if you are struggling with something, there's always a
ultimately,
voice or somebody to lean on to, in that way.
absolutely,
That's what I mean.
absolutely. Yeah, we're here to have a human experience and connect and understand ourselves through other humans. And the only way that we can develop a stronger sense of self and understanding or insight into the deeper meaning and purpose of life is through others.
Mhm.
They create meaning and understanding for us. So
Yeah,
yeah, that level of connection is so important. And yeah, as you say, to ask when you need help, there's always help somewhere, always.
mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to So Serene.
Yeah,
Where did the name, where did the idea, how did So Serene come about?
I'm about. It was born from a place of being, I think, just fed up with and disillusioned by, the way corporates run, and
Hmm.
there's just such a sense of extreme. It's very superficial and it's very disconnected. A lot of the ways organizations run, and this idea of needing to just push, push, push people to the point of no return. Such high levels of burnout, and because we are in a world where we're more connected than ever through technology,
Yeah.
the expectation for being constantly online so high now. And
Mhm.
also what COVID has taught many companies is that people do perform often a lot better when they're working remotely, but as a result must also be online at all times. And, the boundaries around work versus personal time was completely blurred. So as much as I'm an advocate for remote work because I think it creates a lot of balance, it can also have its downsides in that there's the issue of no boundaries. So it
Yeah.
becomes so important for a person to take ownership of that. And again, um, why So Serene came to be was to offer people a space to feel safe, to feel seen, and to find a sense of meaning and purpose through tools that teach well-being. Because I really believe that well-being in of itself is a skill set that you need to learn. It's not just something that happens overnight. It's not like, okay, cool, I'm not eating an apple. Great, I'm going to be healthy. It doesn't work that way. Neither does, okay, I'm going to gym now. Cool. Like
Yeah, I'm
that's
okay.
not, it's not gonna be the life-changing thing. It might be an activator,
Serotonin. Yeah.
but it's certainly not going to be the fundamental, because those, like anything, the novelty wears off. The serotonin and the dopamine highs that you get from an initial kick
Hmm.
are going to settle over time, and then you're going to look for the next high. And that's the problem with well-being, is that it also it plays with the chemicals in your brain, and you need to
Yes.
understand that, because in the same way that a drug will give you a high and will drop you, things like exercise and you can become obsessed and fixated with these things, and there's a danger in not understanding how those chemicals work in the background.
Right.
And then when you're not getting the same feeling, you start thinking it's not working.
Hmm.
But in actual facts, a lot of the time with approaching well-being in a very true sense means you actually need to regulate your nervous system completely and come back to baseline, so that you know what normal feels like again.
Yeah.
And when I say normal, I mean like feeling calm and settled,
Yeah.
not having
It's
to be,
not going below the level of that baseline.
yeah, and not feeling so high, like on some high, whether it's like anxious high or happy high or nervous high or excited high. Like those are just different levels of highs that are
Yes.
created from chemicals in the brain. So, the more knowledge people can back themselves with in that space, the easier it becomes to enhance the journey of well-being. And so, that's what we really advocate for at So Serene. We build series that are in chunks of like 7 to 14 or 21 days, and it's knowledge building.
Right. Yeah.
You do little segments, small, short exercises every day. It can incorporate a workout and nutrition, a meditation, or some kind of knowledge-based learning, which will then, over time, enable you to build small little habits and make those small little changes on a daily
Yeah.
basis that will, over time, enable you to
Long term. Yeah.
experience, the long-term benefits.
Yeah. 100% agree with you there. It's just the small little efforts make the huge difference. Sometimes we feel like we've got to go to the gym like for 2 hours, and that's the standard that you need to, feel that you're really doing something. But
Mm,
instead of doing 2 hours, you rather do 20 minutes of, productive work.
yeah,
That's the same thing,
yeah,
and you're
absolutely.
cutting out the rest of the hour and a half you wasted just walking around or just on your phone or, just trying. I'm not saying people actually different strokes for different folks, but
It's
what
meaningful,
I've
it's
like,
purposeful,
yeah,
intentional when you're doing
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah,
and you're bringing intention behind it. It works a lot better. Um,
yeah,
I speak sometimes about something called habit stacking, which is just adding one small little habit to your to-do list on a daily basis, and over time you build up your healthy habits. And then usually they say it takes 30 days to build a good habit.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so if you can maintain those small little habits for 30 days, you know that you've made a significant change. But
yeah.
it is just like, okay, today what can I do differently? Okay, I'm gonna have an apple instead of a chocolate. And then tomorrow, what can I do differently? Okay, I usually wake up at 6 o'clock. No, let's say 7. Okay, I usually wake up at 7. I'm gonna wake up at 6:45 and do a 15-minute meditation.
Hmm.
The next day, I'm drinking Coke instead of water. Let me change that up. Let me drink water today.
Hmm.
Or like, say for instance, I'm having 4 Cokes today. Okay, let me only have one, and the rest of
What?
the time I'm going to have water.
Yeah.
So it's just over time making those small little adjustments. It's just incremental change that over time results in something that is attainable, because people do, like these, a lot of the times in these 21-day challenges that I see elsewhere, it's all about like radical change, like overnight,
Hmm.
like overhaul, like we're going to cut out everything. And it's just so extreme, and
Cream.
it can work temporarily for sure. But I can guarantee you that 99% of those people are going to fall back into their old ways because
Yeah.
they haven't attached to the sustainability of the changes that they're
Yeah.
attempting to make. And it hasn't,
Such an
it's not
important word.
realistic for them. It needs to be realistic. Like, is this fitting into my life in a realistic way, in a way that I can actually resonate with and connect with, and that I know I can maintain?
Yeah.
So, and over time, your mind starts opening up and shifting because as much as you can physically do things, your mind needs to meet that as well.
Hmm.
You need to hold the mental space to hold to enable the physical changes as well.
Yeah.
So the
Any subtle changes that you've incorporated like in your life over the years that's, been beneficial?
oh, for sure. Like I have a quite a an extensive morning routine now. But it started with me just waking up 10 minutes earlier and doing affirmation.
Okay.
And what that then developed into was I pre-recorded the affirmations in my own voice because I realized that hearing my own voice was more powerful. Um, and it's like a 7-minute recording, and I play that back to myself now 3 times as I wake up. So I try and wake up like at least half an hour before I intend to get out of my bed. I've put my alarm on, and then I play those affirmations to myself so that it's in that state of,
Yeah.
I think they call it, I don't know if it's alpha or, yeah, I think it's that state of
Yeah.
alpha where you just under consciousness and you're very susceptible to programming. And so that becomes more, embedded in your
Yeah. Yeah.
subconscious
Yeah.
mind. And as a result, over time will allow for the changes that you're looking for in your life. So I do that, and I've stuck to that for like 3 years now. Um, there's the hot water with lemon now. There's the apple cider vinegar that I have before I consume anything. I do
Gut cleansing.
cleansing. I do 10 minutes of gratitude every morning, and then I also set intentions. And I say to myself, I choose clarity, I choose certainty, I choose the light, I choose to welcome in all the lessons that I'm meant to receive in the day, and I also choose to respond to those lessons in the best way that I can, and also to ultimately act from a place of love and to act in the way that I know my creator would act. And
Mm.
so choosing to do that and being very intentional in the way I want to process my day or show up for my day, it almost holds you accountable then, and it sets the momentum for the day, and that you will
Yeah.
naturally then be far more likely to show up in the way that you've intended because you've set that from the
Yeah.
beginning. I
Was it
say
a
it out loud.
challenge? Yeah. What
Yeah.
is it? Was it a challenge to actually
Um,
set like where you are, like your practice right now? Did you have like times when you felt like, okay, no, I can't do this, and I don't want to do it anymore, and
oh, there's
or you just stuck
yeah,
to it?
for sure. There's days where I wake up and I'm like, God, I don't want to face this day. I don't want to live. Like there are times where
Hmm.
life throws you big curveballs and you feel terrible. I mean, I certainly am on the journey myself, and no, not every day is perfect, but I know that I have the tools and I commit myself to them. I hold myself accountable in a big way, and that no matter what is going on in my life, I will do them because I know that every
Yes.
other time those things have worked for me. And so I have proof of concept that if I return to those habits that I commit to daily, that's going to change the way I see the day. It's going to help
Yeah.
me get through it in a far better way. And it's already all about
Yeah.
how you see things.
And
And
dealing with like anything that comes your way, but a less more stressful way, like you're able to like navigate them and understand that, okay, you know whatever is happening is not such a detriment. I can handle these issues because I've already set my intention out for the day.
absolutely. And almost to be grateful for the challenges because I know
Hmm.
that that's going to be a stepping stone to the next level of my expansion. And
Yeah.
also knowing that, when you've upped yourself in life and you're not playing in let's say, the Ivy League universities versus high school,
Yeah.
what you've what you previously felt yourself to be such a boss because you were playing at the top of the high school league. You
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
leveled up and you've gone and graduated into Ivy Leagues, and now you feel terrible because you're at the bottom.
Yes.
You're at the bottom of the next level. And so you
Yeah.
haven't actually, it's not that you've gone backwards, it's that you've taken such a step forward, but the growth trajectory now is, it's just
Hmm.
your next space that you now have to grow through.
Yeah.
And
That's where the hard work comes in.
so yes, it's the next level of hard work that comes through. And that's another
Yeah.
thing that I've learned. And I think just something really important to share with people is that it's not that you've gone backwards, it's that you've entered into
Yeah.
a new space.
Yeah. 100%. It's it's the effort that you put in behind the scenes that actually contribute towards what people actually see. You give to the world or you show to the world. It's those something that I took for granted because I was like naturally gifted in athleticism. Like I always just took it for granted. Um, Not to say that, I didn't have any guidance. I did have guidance on coaches and stuff like that, but just something within me was just like a bit ego driven. I'll
Mm.
accept that about myself. Um, and I thought like, okay, my natural talent will take me so far.
Mm.
Uh, I not like I didn't put in the hard work because I feel now like I could have done more for myself. I could have done, just a little bit extra to get to that next level, like you say, from high school to Ivy League.
Mm.
There's that gap, that you need to like really improve yourself physically, mentally, uh, nutritionally as well, so, and I think it's never too late to start. I'm
Never
saying
too late.
whatever has happened, but in this way we are right now in this present space, you can start. And that's where I think people need to, where I'm trying to like also get to is it's never too late to start anything.
It is never too late.
Just start. Just even if it's just a small step towards that, towards that activity. Even if you say, oh, I'm going to start becoming active today, go out for a walk. That's your start.
Yeah.
And slowly, like 5, 10 minutes, then it becomes 20 minutes, then it becomes 30 minutes, then it becomes an hour. And you start, okay, maybe I could incorporate a little jog now. Let me incorporate a little jog, you
Yeah.
know?
You're building a momentum.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It really is all about momentum. And I think that that's a big lesson I've learned is that, like, even when if you start finding yourself, um, you know, moving towards negative thinking, it's a
Yeah.
momentum thing. And it's very important to break it quickly because if you allow it to continue, it's a snowball effect.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Um, yeah, like we were saying, like those small little, those different little changes make a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does. And I think if a person can just um reframe the way that they think and like just give themselves the space to just try, then they'll
Mhm.
see that they're 100% better than they were yesterday, even if it is,
Yeah,
just making that 10 minutes change, 10 minutes of like a 10-minute walk or whatever it is that you've added. It's 100% different to what you were doing yesterday, which it was nothing.
yeah,
So and then you create that momentum over time and build on it, and then before you know it, in a month's time, you're running 20, 30 minutes.
yeah,
And yeah, so that big change is very attainable when you break it up into small little doable steps.
yeah. And in terms of nutrition, I know it's a big advocate, like for So Serene as well. I mean, it's something that's very important. Like before I do any podcast, I like to do a bit of research of my guests, and
Mm.
I watched the YouTube video of yours when you did with, was it Mela? I think a couple of
Oh
years
yes,
back.
that was ages ago.
Yeah.
Yes, that was like a whole nother world for me. I had a vegan ice cream back then.
Oh, that don't you have it anymore?
No, no,
Ah,
that
okay.
was one of my other business ventures that I did, but realized that cold chain was quite unpleasant to have to contend with. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
opted out of that.
How important is nutrition in your day-to-day life?
I think it's very important, and I just see well-being as so deeply interconnected, all the facets of well-being, because ultimately your body is a vessel through which your spirit is able to engage with the world around you, and it is home to your spirit or your soul. And so the way you treat it
Hmm.
is important because it needs to be purified and cleaned so that more of your light can come in. And by moving your body, by taking care of it, by treating your body with respect, by nourishing it with clean whole foods that were intended for consumption rather than the products that have been mass produced and created for the purpose of mass consumption, you you're honoring yourself and you're respecting yourself by feeding yourself with the good stuff. And so I do believe nutrition is absolutely vital. It's again making the choices and also acknowledging that it's very easy to make excuses around things and like, oh, but chocolate's so nice and I've had a bad day. I'm just going to treat myself. Yes, there's that narrative and there's certainly motivations and arguments for that. But on the other side, you also have to say that, like, what are the ingredients in chocolate? Like, most chocolate is made with sugar. Sugar is
Mhm.
highly addictive. It's not going to make you feel good. It's going to create an energy slump. It's highly processed. And why on earth would you want to add toxins into your body? In the same way that why would someone want to smoke? Same way that why would someone want to um, consume drugs that are, or bad drugs? I
Yeah.
mean, drugs like things like medical, like, mushrooms and
Prescription. Yeah. Prescription.
that and microdosing and all of that is a completely different conversation.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But it really is about the honest conversation that you need to have with yourself about the choices you make around nutrition. And I'm not
Right.
saying that you must cut it all out altogether, because we're human at the end of the day. But you also have to, again, be willing to show up for yourself and hold yourself accountable to your well-being. And it's like, how well do you want to feel? Do you want to feel 50% well? Do you want to feel 100% well? Like, there's no limits to how well you can feel. It's
Mhm.
about the approach that you decide to take. So I know that eating predominantly plant-based foods for me, grains. I do sometimes have fish and eggs because I do find that I do need the
Protein.
protein, but I try and make sure that those are sustainably sourced. Like what level of consciousness am I coming into the way I consume my food? It's an
Mhm.
important conversation that people just have to have with themselves. And it's not prescriptive. Like I would never ever say, oh, you must eat this and you must eat that. But
Yeah.
again have to find what works for you, for your particular body. Some people function a lot better on high protein, low carb. Some people function on better on plant-based, some on Mediterranean.
Normal.
It really
Yeah.
just depends. So you kind of have to work out what
Find
your
the
body
balance. Yeah.
runs best on. But ultimately, the cleanliness of your food is, in my opinion, non-negotiable. Like whole foods, we were gifted this world with naturally occurring produce,
Mhm.
and so use that. Now, that's how I see it. Whole foods are the way to go.
Yeah.
If you like an apple, a pear, fruits, naturally occurring foods is great because that means that you're eating clean. It was intended for
Mhm.
you to consume in that way.
Yeah. And you're still getting your sugar intake. Well, natural sugar intake is
Natural
from the.
sugars, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So
even like
and
sugar
sorry.
cane, if you had to chew on raw sugar cane as a little treat, like that would probably be fine. But it's the way that we consume sugar that's problem because it's highly processed and refined, and
Yes.
you're
Yes.
gonna get
Yes.
that sugar spike. So
Yeah. Yeah.
gonna make you feel
But I think
terrible.
that's where the mindfulness and the commitment needs to really like show up for
Yeah,
yourself. Nobody else is gonna do it for you.
no one's gonna
Um,
do it for you. No one's coming to save you on this
exactly.
well-being
Yeah.
journey. You have to save yourself. And I think, and that
Yeah.
goes with anything in life, really. Like even with relationships, with work. Are you gonna come? Are you gonna come in and show up the better version of you? As a
Mhm.
new version of yourself, as the version that's gonna reflect back to you the things that you truly want in your life, because
Mhm.
that only comes from within. No one else is gonna
Yeah.
make that magically happen for you. And I think that there's so much of the world that is programming us to look externally or outward for answers or solutions, and to rely
Yeah.
on something outside of us to solve our
When we
problems
have
on our
the when we
behalf.
have when we have the answers within us
We
as
do,
well.
and it's a matter of
Yeah.
whether or not you want to tap in.
Yeah.
So I invite you all listening to tap in.
Yes. Please. Does So Serene also like guide people through their nutritional journeys if they do come to you as well?
We've got a lot of recipes, and
Okay.
as part of like the series and programs that we build up, we would include
Okay.
those as new integrations or ways for people to try out
Okay.
healthier versions of eating. And we are busy working on providing a whole knowledge upskill basis for people to learn more about nutrition.
Yeah.
Um, but it's it's just again, it's like how committed are you to this journey? Are you willing to
Yeah.
upskill? Are you willing to upskill in the same way that you want to upskill, and you go to
Your
varsity?
professional
You go,
life. Yeah.
yeah. Are you willing to upskill your well-being? Because you have to. You have to have the basis, and then you have to have the knowledge base in order to be able to understand the why.
Yeah.
Why is important. It really is. Because if you just like doing something for the sake of doing it and you don't understand the why behind it, there's no meaning or intention. And
Hmm.
so there's no connect to what it is that you're doing. But when you
Yeah.
understand it on that deeper level, it becomes a lot more powerful, and the likelihood of you actually sticking to it becomes far higher.
Yeah. It's such an important point. And going back to like also how our bodies react to certain stresses. Your taste buds change and you start craving, the high sugars.
Mm.
Because when I went through my depressional and anxiety state, I was craving more sugars, more like chocolates and stuff because but that's all I kind of like learned, like you said, you upskill yourself. You like
Mm.
learn about, your biology as a being when you go through these traumatic events. Uh, you know, Even the serotonin and dopamine releases, what it does to your brain, you
Mm.
know, the release of just endorphins is just when you get from a natural high, compared to a substitutional high, where you choose like, okay, I'm just going to take a drug and I'm going to get to that high. But then when the come down is hard. But when you
Mm.
go from a natural high, the come down is gradual. It's not
Mm.
as abrasive and intoxicating for your body. So it's about understanding what kind of high you want.
Yeah. And you want the natural high or the or the chemical high. Uh,
The chemicals, yeah, it's a journey. I mean, we're learning all the time, and we learn new things about ourselves every single day until I think till the day we die, I think, or we leave this planet, from a physical form, and our spiritual form moves on. I think we'll continue to learn and evolve as a species and as human beings.
Absolutely. It isn't that every day is an opportunity to learn. And
Yeah,
if you're blocking yourself off from learning, you start dying. That's how I see it.
yeah,
It's when the learning stops, the dying begins. So we need to always
yeah.
to
I
continue
love
to
that. It's a good one.
learn.
And somebody who's listening to this podcast today and like, wants to reach out, how can they get in touch with you and, begin their journey?
So you can find me on Instagram at Cara Lisa Sham. That's my personal account. And So Serene is at Be So Serene. And then also we are at www.soserene.com, where you can find more information about how to sign up. It's a subscription-based service, so we offer 7-day free trial, following which you would then subscribe and pay on a monthly basis to access all the different
Amazing.
knowledge base and series and activities that we offer.
Amazing. Yes, I will also leave links to Cara Lisa's, Instagram page and her resources down below in the description. So check it out, give her a follow and yeah, support her journey as well.
Thank you, and I'd love to be a part of supporting yours.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So is there anything like within your current day that, you feel like that you can improve on?
I think like I'm going through a few work-related challenges at the moment, and I can just see that the momentum around my thinking has become a little bit skeptical and a little bit negative because of
Okay.
some particular experiences that I've had. And like I tend to be a very positive person. I always am able to see the good things. And it's hit me quite hard in that like my ability to reframe is not happening as quickly or as naturally as it usually does.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that. And so currently I'm working through um being able to have those positive thoughts and build the positive momentum, because I know what it's like to wake up on a day where it's just everything so synchronistic and the right people show
Yeah.
up at the right time. And, you know, it's like in a movie where the sun's shining and you're just walking along the path and the birds are chirping and singing. Like life can really be like that when you're able to show up
Yeah.
on that level of vibration and you've tapped into your light. It's very possible, but but it's also quite hard to maintain. So especially when things get thrown at you. So right now I'm dealing with that a lot, and I am finding it challenging. But I know that I
I hope you
will.
I hope you're kind to yourself.
Yes, that's also something that's quite tough. Is being kind to yourself, because yeah, you do tend to be like, why are you not positive right now? What is wrong with you? Like,
Yes.
change your
Yeah.
thoughts. But yeah, sometimes you also just need to have the patience. That
Yeah.
sometimes yeah, things need to come out and process and lift so that you can then clear up
Yeah.
what
It's
needs to
like,
be cleared.
when we like building foundation, sometimes the foundation gets a bit creaked or gets a bit wonky, and you're like gonna
Mm.
like lift it again and like see what's underneath and clean it out and
Yeah,
put it back down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah,
sure,
we're
the
always going.
sorry, you were saying?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say that for sure, the challenges that I'm currently experiencing were meant to come into my space because there's obviously things that are still living
Hmm.
underneath the cracks, which needed to present, and
Yeah.
um, I needed to become aware of so that they can clear. So I like your analogy a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I just kind of thought of it.
It's a good one.
Sometimes I'm just like, I don't really think about these things, and then when I'm having a discussion or talking, then it comes up. It's
They
like,
just come up.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good one to keep.
yeah. Hopefully, I can remember it when I am going through, you know. Um, it's not like I want to like continuously have these challenges. Yeah, it's like trying to like just minimize them, and
Mm,
that's what it's about. Just maintaining that balance, and like you said, um, you are in a state of like transition. It's
mm.
not a challenge. I would say it's a more of a transition period for you.
Yeah,
Uh, we always don't have we don't have challenges. Somebody on my previous podcast says we don't have challenges. We have it's lessons.
it's lessons.
It's,
Absolutely. It is all about
yeah,
that.
it's about how we refrain it, how we talk to ourselves. You know, when we were growing up, we were always says, "I am this," or "I am okay," "I am all right," "I am tired." It's not that you're feeling
Mm.
that that annotation. You're not that, and I think
Yeah.
that's where I like struggled a lot. Where I put myself as I am the negative thinking or negative thought that I was feeling, um, instead of saying no, I'm just feeling it, and
Mm.
it's not who
But
I am.
yeah.
And I still go through it every single day where some I'll notice something and I'll get triggered.
Mm.
But I'm not in a state of hypersensitivity anymore. Uh, I'm on Western medication as well because I think it's required for myself. But I also do the natural side of it as well. So I think both work for me, and I think I had to, that's what like you said, you need to find something that works for you.
Mm.
It's not one size fits all for everybody.
No, absolutely not. And I think to also respect all forms of all types of solutions
Yeah,
should be respected because yeah, what works for you may not necessarily work for someone else, and vice versa.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's how we talk to ourselves, how we, you know, produce that positive light within ourselves. It might be a little bit dark at the moment, but sometimes it needs a little spark to, and just like you said, affirmations and listening to your own voice
Mm.
helps. Where it's a higher vibration than listening to somebody else that's you could resonate with.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think also what you mentioned about not identifying with the negative or the feelings that you're experiencing is so important and such a good reminder and something I also feel that I need to perpetually remind myself about is not it's non-attachment and
Hmm.
so yes you have these feelings and even happiness is a passing feeling. It's not going to
Yes.
always be consistent, and so to be able to just detach from all the feelings and acknowledge that they will pass through and you're going to experience good feelings, you're going to experience bad feelings, you're going to experience in between feelings, but it isn't who you are. And to not identify with any one of them, because the minute you do attach to any type of feeling, um, especially if it's like an extreme high feeling, then when you're not there, it's the likelihood of you coming down on yourself very hard is far higher. So
Yeah.
it's just being able to be an observer of the self, and to, almost like see yourself as an avatar where you're operating in the
Yeah.
world and you're doing all these things, but then there's
Yeah.
that part of you that's observing and acknowledging that this isn't me. It's just me having an experience or
Exactly.
having a
Yeah.
feeling, and it is transitionary and it will pass.
Yeah. Exactly. I know for myself, I wanted to ask you is when you're having these kind of experiences, what's your go-to to like really just switch off and just just be?
So just be, well, ever since moving to Cape Town, I've found incredible peace in going for walks. And I listen to classical music, and just the momentum of the walk coupled with the music for me just gets me into the present. And I feel like it just shuts off my mind completely, and I'm able to just be
Okay.
and to be with my feelings. And if I'm feeling a little bit emotional, and like tears start coming, I'll let them
It's
come.
okay.
And it's
Yeah.
a space of non-judgment. And um, if certain thoughts do come up, I'll almost like just I'll observe them, and but be like, okay, I don't really want to attend to you right now. You're there, but I'm not really going to engage with you.
Right.
So it really just helps me get back to that place of just peace, and feeling a lot more connected to my source. And
Hmm.
particularly being in nature, I find that there's something very powerful about
Oh yeah.
sunsets and the sea, and walking in that space that just creates that sense of oneness.
Hmm.
And so that has definitely been my go-to.
Yeah. Cape
And
Town
you,
is beautiful.
it
Like
really is. It really, really
it's
is. It's a magical
yeah.
place.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we miss Cape Town, like in terms of like, just the natural beauty that, our planet offers.
Mm,
Um, at least like we have at least the Lake Ontario just like a block away from us, so at least we have
that's it.
a bit of water and like the sun and the sun. So we see the sunrise and sunset,
Okay.
uh, in a good way. But it's just
Beautiful.
like you said, like sometimes when you're feeling like stuck or you're feeling, just go to water or go to the natural resource and just sit there, just
It's
be there.
grounding. It's grounding.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, the
earthing.
element.
It's
Yeah,
the elements, yeah. It's connecting you
yeah.
back to nature, and also it just brings so much perspective because you realize how we're all one. Like everything is so deeply connected,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's you are such a small component part of this
Called,
exceptional
yeah.
fabric that is the universe, and it's like just one stream of energy that is part and parcel of this infinite consciousness.
Yeah.
And I think that is also like a reality check in that, yeah, my problems aren't that big.
It's
That's
funny you say that, like, we've been traveling quite a bit last year. And every time I look out the window of the plane, you know, I, I'm kind of like taken back, like how small we are
mm,
in terms of like, our place on this planet, how, not, I'm not saying not insignificant, but, we always feel like the ground beneath us is it's just there.
mm,
But when you look at it from a higher perspective, you're like, okay,
mm.
yeah, it's massive.
It is
It's
massive, and I
it's
think it also
yeah,
gives you perspective around, yes, you're so small in the grand scheme of things, which enables you to realize that your problems are not as big as you make them to be. But at the same
yeah,
time, you also understand the infinite capacity to do anything that exists, like anything is really possible if you look around and see what is and what can still be. It's just
mm,
about breaking the conscious barriers to enable or welcome in the the possibilities. People limit themselves so much in that they think that they can only be or achieve X. But
yeah,
once they break their minds down and actually realize, oh, but actually that goal I've set for myself is actually a limitation in a way because
yeah,
I'm only just allowing that. But what about, like, what if we make it even bigger? And
mhm,
you have to almost like challenge yourself in that way. And like, but what if it can be even more, even better, or even more wonderful? And that's not to say that you must go chasing the unattainable and get
Yes,
a
yes.
negative spiral either, but it's
Yeah,
more
that's
just,
important.
it is important, but it's more about just understanding that really there's infinite potential, and it's about what you choose to tap into, really.
Hmm. Yeah, I could have this discussion the whole,
Okay.
but I know we're also pressed for time, but I think it's a good place to like wind down. Um, no, Cara, thank you so much for, you know, presenting and giving your time for this podcast. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. And just before we go, I just like to do a quick fire round, just so that we, end the podcast on a lighter note. What's one wellness practice that you can't live without?
I'd say meditation.
Nice. Favorite book or podcast?
Currently, David Geeham podcast, the David Geeham podcast. Also, Danny Morell. It's called
Lovely.
The Higher Self by Danny. Yeah, by Danny Morell.
Lovely. And one mantra or quote that you live by every single day?
Follow your soul; it knows the way, and also the journey is the process.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Cara. I really appreciate you taking the time. And
Thank
yes,
you.
guys, hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please take the time to go and follow Cara. She's doing amazing things. And if you need some healing and the journey to start Kickstart, check out So Serene. I'll leave the links in the description below. Yes, guys. And until the next one, stay zen. Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Kashan.